I have a notebook, so I'm just keeping track.
And we are technically not live, but we're going on. Welcome to another episode of Rankum. Today is a special pre-recorded episode. People that are probably watching in the chat, we've probably got Jonathan Pete, we've probably got the cool guy, but we don't know what they're saying because we're not live, so it doesn't really matter. But this topic, like we had the nominations come out, it would have been a few weeks ago now, but and there was some major snubs. So I thought, and you voted on Oscar snubs to be the one we talk about this week as our Oscar list. So it's what we are, and I've assembled a great panel with me. I've got our usual grumpy old man, Cody Newberry. Cody, how's it going?
Oh, this episode's should be a lot better than last week's episode for me. But it also could be longer. Because we kind of broke it down where snubs considered for not winning, just overall things that happened at the Academy Awards, either leading up to it or the night of. And I think that's going to make a real interesting concept. And especially with Caleb Coho here and Malcolm, sometimes we don't always see eye to eye fully on movies. So if I say one that I'm like, this is a complete a snub, they could be like, no, that was justified, and we could be here for 4 hours. So let's hope not. But with these two, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah. And it's good, probably a good thing we're not live because I don't think you two would want to miss the Superman Bowl. So
No Superman Bowl.
No.
But anyway, and also here we've got Caleb. Caleb, how's it going?
It's going good. I am very excited to bring up a lot of hot takes in terms of snubs, and also celebrate the mistakes that the Oscars oftentimes make. So, yeah.
Yeah, and as Cody said, like for me, when I first sort of took the term snub, I always ever thought of it as things that should have been nominated but wasn't. But I mean, but then when I started actually looking at it, a lot of people do consider like movies that didn't win that they think should have won over something, such as the Citizens Kane Howard Green Energy Valley comparison. But anyway, that's it. How the show works is we do a roundtable discussion. We throw out a snub that we do think should be considered the top snubs of all time. And yeah, then at the end we rank them. And to kick it off first, I'm going to go to Cody. Cody, what is the first snub you're going to bring up?
Okay, so in studying for this, looking it up, because this is like one of those things that you have to do like a deep dive, because there's so many years of Oscars and what you would consider a snub. And there's one snub that would have made me sick to my stomach if I was alive to see it. And that is Gene Kelly not being nominated for Best Actor for Singing in the Rain. This is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. That how a musical that literally has shaped my love of musicals for the man that put out one of the most iconic movie songs of all time sat home from the Academy Awards because he was not nominated. So this one is actually a nomination thing because he didn't even have a chance to win. They didn't even give him that opportunity. So if that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Caleb, what do you say about Gene Kelly?
Absolutely. Gene Kelly is in Singing in the Rain is iconic. It is one of the best movie musicals of all time, if not in the discussion for the best. And that's because Gene Kelly, and especially with the 50s in general, one of the most iconic performances you think back to immediately is Gene Kelly Singing in the Rain. So, yeah, absolutely.
So if that Gene Kelly does make the list, this one I would have suggested to as well. I didn't actually realise he wasn't nominated. I didn't really do my research get into that so far. Just getting up that Oscar, see who actually was nominated that year.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I found it on here earlier. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. So So Singing in the Rain would have been eligible for the 1953 Oscars. So nominated for Best Actor that year, we had Gary Cooper for High Noon. He actually won it. Marlon Brando for Viva Zapata. Kirk Douglas for The Bad and the Beautiful. Jose Ferreira for Moulin Rouge. And Alec Guinness for The Lavender Hall Mob. Those were who was nominated that year.
Yeah,
I think you could easily find a spot for one.
All those movies sound like they stood the test of time, like Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
High Noon, I can see, especially the time period. I get why that would have won, maybe, but for Gene Kelly to then be like, nah, you weren't good enough. Are you high? So yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you guys saw eye to eye with me on that one.
Yeah. Anyway, Caleb, what is the snub you're going to bring up first?
My snub is also an acting snub. At the 2014 awards, there was a notable name not brought up in the Best Actor race that everyone thought was the front runner, and that was Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler. Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler is scary, it's terrifying, it's unnerving, but it's also really captivating all the way through. He gives a fantastic performance that was up there with the likes of Eddie Redmayne and Michael Keaton for Theory of Everything and Birdman. So I definitely think he should have been nominated that year.
Yeah, I'll go to me first. This is one that I actually agreed with the nominations. For me, Jake Gyllenhaal was close to get on, but I couldn't put him in over anyone else. But for me, it's a no. But Cody, what do you say? You're the tiebreaker.
So nominations are really simple. Can somebody? I know this is taking time, but what it was nominated the year that Jake left out? Because
it was Michael Keaton, Birdman, Eddie Redmayne, The Theory of Everything, Steve Carell, Foxcatcher. I can't remember the other two off the top of my head. Benedict Cumberbatch, The Imitation Game, and I don't know if I can remember that fifth one off the top of my head.
I'm going to get up now, so.
Yeah, that will be the sway, because right now the four that you said, I am hard putting Jake over, but that fifth one could be the weakness. So.
So found the wrong Oscars. I went the.
I'll bring up the Oscar sheet on my computer too, so we can just have that open too.
Yeah.
that way we have a quick.
So we've got Eddie Redmayne. Caleb said Bradley Cooper for American Sniper, Cumberbatch Imitation Game, and Keaton.
We're good. Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal takes American Sniper's place. That movie was not as great, and it got nominated for what it was, not for its performances. So yeah, Jake would totally get that spot for me.
And with that, Jake does make the list, and it's down to me to nominate now. And I'm also going to bring up an acting snub. And this is, in my research, this is one I did not realize until when I actually started looking it up. And I'm bringing up Judy Garland for Wizard of Oz. She was not nominated that year. And this is one that Wizard of Oz is very iconic, and it's one of those roles which she does so well in it. Like, she's so great. It's hard to believe she wasn't nominated for this. Caleb, what do you say about Judy Garland?
Yeah, looking at the nominees were Vivian Leigh for Gone with the Wind, Bette Davis for Dark Victory, Irene Dunn for Love Affair, Greta Garbo for Ninotchka, and Greer Garson for Goodbye Mr. Chips. I think you could have found a spot for Judy Garland, absolutely, because she's one of the most iconic performances, with hindsight being 2020. But even in that movie, she carries the film, and I think she's fantastic all the way through, so I'm going to give it the yes.
And with that, Judy Garland does make the list. Cody, what would you have said?
No. I think the movie is good. I think every character in it is way bigger standout than Judy. She sings a nice song, and she's the taxi that takes the people where they need to go, but she doesn't add so much. I think The Wicked Witch is way stronger, and I think the three characters that she goes along with are way stronger. So I would have personally said no. I get it because she wasn't nominated, so that's kind of just an easy, like, she's filling. But yeah, I would have actually said no to this one. But I understand why you guys did it.
Anyway, it's back to Cody. Cody, what is your next nomination?
Okay, so this one is really personal with me. There's no question of who my favorite actor is. It's Denzel Washington. And for Denzel Washington to not win the Oscar for Malcolm X is flipping travesty. The dude is insane in everything he does, and that was his surefire win. And he lost. I'm trying to think of the actor that beat him. Somebody will tell me.
His name is Al Pacino, Scent of a Woman.
Yes. So Al Pacino won it for Scent of a Woman because he hadn't had an Oscar. That's the main factor of it. He was not. There's no. You put those two acting performances back to back. There's not a shot that you say Denzel is not stronger than Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman. So Denzel's my option.
Yeah.
Give me my man Denzel.
Give him a man Denzel.
Yeah, I'm definitely saying yes to this, and not because he plays a character called Malcolm, but like, I haven't seen this movie, but I've seen enough of him acting in it to know that his performance, his portrayal of Malcolm X is perfect. It is pretty good. It's like, and with these snubs, like, it doesn't matter if you have seen the movie. The way I see it is, like, if you've seen anything of the acting, then you can sort of pick it up anyway. But Caleb, what would you have said?
Denzel suffered from Snubs past, and because he got snubbed here, it caused snubs later down the line. Also, when he won for Training Day, beating Russell Crowe for A Beautiful Mind. So I would have said yes because Denzel should have won this one instead of the one that he actually won.
Are you out of your mind? Are you saying
I'm not out of my
Russell
mind.
Crowe should have beat Denzel in Training Day?
Yeah, Russell Crowe should have won his Oscar for A Beautiful Mind.
Gosh,
yeah.
no. Absolutely.
He's outstanding in A Beautiful Mind.
Denzel transforms into a psychopath. Right,
so technically, so does Russell Crowe. So
I don't like Caleb anymore.
But anyway, talking about Caleb, it's his turn to nominate something.
Okay, so I'm going to take a break from all the acting ones, and I'm going to go ahead and throw out a Best Picture snub. In the year 2008, the nominees for Best Picture included Slumdog Millionaire, The Reader, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. There's one notable name, if I went through the entire list, I'm trying to rattle off the top of my head, but one notable film that was not nominated was The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight should have not just been nominated, it should have won. It was better than Slumdog Millionaire. It was better than any of the other films that were in that category that year. And it should have been the first superhero film not only to be nominated, but to win Best Picture. And that would have saved us the trouble of having the debate of, is Black Panther worthy of Best Picture? Is Logan worthy of Best Picture? Because the answer is technically no, because The Dark Knight never won. So that is a big omission, and I think The Dark Knight should have won Best Picture.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it over to Cody. Cody, what do you say about The Dark Knight?
No! I know this is going to be the one thing. Sorry, if one of Nolan's films should have won Best Picture, it's the first one. It's Batman Begins. I find that way more of a dream story that captivates. Yes, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I love The Dark Knight. It is in my top personal, but at that time, I think they only got snubbed because of the list of nominations, the amount. But I've always said this before, the Oscars wasn't made for everybody. And that was the biggest problem that people like to throw out. Do I think Dark Knight's a good movie? Yes, it is good for what it does. But I think the movies that were nominated that year tell a story that needed to be told. So, yes, I get it. I understand. I do not believe Black Panther should even come close to a Best Picture nomination at all. but I'm glad that it took this long to get one, because some of the precedents that would have started if Dark Knight would have won or been nominated, we could have gotten some meh nominations, and I wouldn't have been happy with that. So I'm actually saying they did the right call and give the right performance the Oscar that year, not the movie. So
Yeah, I'm also one that enjoys Batman Begins over Dark Knight. But I'm going to say yes to this one because,
obviously,
well, what I was about to say is I don't think it should have won, but because one of the popular theorizers is that the Dark Knight admission is what made the Academy expand the Best Picture nominations to
yeah.
at least 10. So for that reason, I'm going to say yes. We'll see how high he ends up on our list.
I just did that basically for Caleb's disrespectful comment about Denzel Washington and Training Day.
Oh, don't worry. I hate you too.
You can talk fences, you can't talk Training Day, buddy. Go ahead.
But yeah, anyway, it's back to me, and I'm going to go for a fairly recent one, but it's definitely one which has caused a lot of people screaming to the high heavens this year, and that is Won't You Be My Neighbor being snubbed for Best Documentary. This one, now, I don't really watch documentaries, but this is one that, from what I've heard people talking about it and the love that they have for this documentary, it boggles my mind for how it missed out. Because I mean, like in the documentary categories, there's three ones that people go, "Oh, these three will make it in," which made it in. There's two ones that some people had said they'd never heard of them until they were nominated. So it's like, so how? But yeah, so "Won't You Be My Neighbor" is on the table. Cody, what do you say about "Won't You Be My Neighbor"?
This is going to be a difficult one because I don't know where this stands in the test of time right now. I feel like we've been a little too nice on this show right now, so the mean guy's got to come out. Um, I don't know if this is a huge snub at this point because, to tell you the truth, I haven't seen the other documentaries nominated, so they could be better. Um, I think this one has an up. Uh, I think this one is affecting more people because this is normally one of those categories that people are like, okay, I'm gonna go get some more food to eat during this because I don't know what these are. And then Won't You Be My Neighbor has such a high impact on everybody because it's Mr. Rogers. But I just don't believe without knowing what was nominated and why, because I haven't seen them. I have to give it a no because I think there are bigger snubs on upcoming than the one that just happened. I think if we'd had this in 10 years, possibly it could be on there, but no.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Caleb, what do you say about "Won't You Be My Neighbor"?
I'm also gonna say no because
The Russian is cut. Here
I
comes the blood.
I think like overall with this documentary, it's a positive overall upbeat documentary, in terms of like, hey, it's a feel good movie, and typically the documentaries kind of go for heavier subjects. So I don't know. I know people loved it, but in terms of what the documentaries past have usually been, it's not a huge shocker to me. I could be off because I'm not the biggest documentary feature aficionado. But yeah, I'm gonna say no because I think there are bigger snubs than documentary.
And that's totally fair. And that stops our streak of movies getting on the list. So, Cody, can you start it up again?
Okay, I'm going between two at this point. Give me 1 second. Um, yep, that's where it's gonna go. Okay, so this small indie movie came out in the summer of 1975, and its name was Jaws. Um, and Spielberg did not get a nomination for Best Director for Jaws, which I find stupid. Obviously, the Oscar went to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I am not arguing that point. I'm just saying, how can you not include the director that had so many malfunctions with making this movie and literally delivered, still arguably, one of the best movies of all time? And he was not even included in the nominations. So mine is Spielberg for not being nominated for Jaws.
And just looking at what was nominated, I'm going to say yes to this because, like the other nominations, like you had Milos Forman, which Cody said, then you had Federico Fellini for Amarcord, you had Stanley Kubrick for Barry Lyndon, you had Sidney Lumet for Dog Day Afternoon, and you had Robert Altman for Nashville. I could easily put him over Altman and Fellini, even though I've never seen those movies. I don't know how good they are, but those are some names I don't really know. But I mean, Kubrick and Lumet, I think, are really big names, and I think safe to say they are in there. But yeah, I'm saying yes to Spielberg for Jaws. Caleb, what would you have said?
I've never actually seen Jaws, so I can't really speak to the testament of Spielberg's directing on that film. I've heard the stories, and on that merit, I would have said yes, because when everything goes wrong in your production, yeah, I think it's a miracle that this movie came out and became the classic that it was. I think Spielberg has directed a lot of movies and been snubbed for a lot of movies. So if we're gonna pick one, that might not have been the one that I would have gone to right away. But as long as we have one on there, I'm not gonna complain.
You've never seen Jaws?
No, and trust me and Kane have fought about this. It's his favorite movie of all time. I've never seen Jaws.
Hey, instead of popping in La La Land for the 14th time, how about you go watch? Why don't you go watch Jaws?
Fair.
I think it's on his Vudu.
If it's on his Vudu, I need to ask for his password.
Oh, true.
But anyway, speaking of Caleb, what is the next snub you're bringing up?
Where do I want to go? Where do I want to go?
God, everybody help us. We only have 6, so we're actually doing pretty good. We're actually being friendly.
You know what? I'm gonna go back to the acting noms, and I'm gonna throw out probably my last one for a while. In 1999, the acting awards nominees were Kevin Spacey for American Beauty, Russell Crowe for The Insider, Richard Farnsworth for The Straight Story, Sean Penn for Sweet and Lowdown, and give him a Denzel for The Hurricane. When you look at that list, there's 1 or 2 spots that I'm like, and there's one major performance that not only won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama, and then didn't show up. It was not there at all, and that's Jim Carrey in Man on the Moon. Jim Carrey completely transforms into Andy Kaufman. It completely sucks you in. You forget it's Jim Carrey. He's fantastic. Not only does he play Jim Carrey, he also plays the alter ego Tony Clifton extremely well in the film. And it's a fantastic performance that tops, in my opinion, the one that he had the year before, also not nominated for The Truman Show. So I think if Jim was ever going to be nominated or win an Oscar for performance, it was Man on the Moon, and that's the one I'm putting on the table. Jim Carrey, Man on the Moon.
Yeah, and interesting fact, Jim Carrey is the only actor to have won in both the Golden Globe drama and Golden Globe comedy, but both times never nominated. And I had both of those performances, because I thought, well, I put both of them on because depending on, I would have said yes to either one of them. So I'm definitely saying yes to Jim Carrey for Man on the Moon. Cody, what would you have said?
Yeah, I get the viewpoint. I'm not a big fan of the movie. But after watching that documentary, it did change a little bit because he's a little bit crazy. So you see the lengths that he goes to do it. So I don't think Jim Carrey should be an Oscar winner, but I could see he definitely should have been nominated for this one. So I'm okay with putting him on.
Oh yeah, I mean, I also don't think that he should have won, but but yeah, but okay, it's back to me. I'm going to bring up an animated movie that came out, and everything about it was awesome. And this is one that people still go whenever there's a big movie out that is not a Pixar, is like, will this be nominated or will this be the Lego Movie treatment? And completely miss. The Lego Movie is one that when it came out, it's groundbreaking. Like they did a lot of thing there, like, and I do think it should have taken up one of the 5 slots. For whatever reason, it didn't. In that year, there was the Box Trolls. I can't remember the other ones. I know there was 2 Japanese.
The Wind Rises, How to Train Your Dragon 2, but Big Hero 6, and then another Ghibli that I can't remember. Princess Kaguya, I think.
Yeah, that one. But yeah, Lego Movie is on the table. Cody, what do you say?
So everything is not awesome. I hate this movie. I hated every bit of this movie. The opening song was fun. Everything else was not. There is a bigger snub in animation that I'm going to bring up hopefully later, or probably Caleb might. I don't even know. But I'm not saying that they both can't go on, but this list is getting pretty full, and there's some notable snubs missing. So, for a person that hated the movie, if I was in the Oscar room, I would have been another vote that says, nope, let's move along. So I would have said no, because there is bigger snubs in the animation department than this.
Caleb, what do you say about the Lego Movie?
See, like, Lego Movie and Lego Batman were both snubbed, and I think Lego Batman is a bigger snub because I think it's a better movie, and also Ferdinand and the Boss Baby are trash, and they beat a good movie in Lego Batman. So I'm going to say no to Lego Movie, and I don't think Lego Batman will particularly make it on, but there's an even bigger animation snub, as Cody referenced, that didn't make it. And again, the list is getting short, so I'm going to have to say no, even though I love the Lego Movie.
Yeah. I mean, I suspect the same reason Lego Batman was snubbed for the same... I believe Lego Batman was snubbed for the same reason Lego Movie was. Because one of the theories that I've thought of and figured that snub was that it wasn't nominated because they didn't want it to seem like the Oscars was just subtly advertising other companies. That could be the reason. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, Cody, what is the next snub you're going to bring up?
Well, we'll stay in the animation department because I'll bring it up since it's my turn. I'm going with arguably one of the best Disney movies of the 2000s and on. Probably of all one. I arguably think this movie is top 10 Disney of all time. No questions asked. And this movie is Tangled. Tangled didn't even get nominated. Tangled got song, and that's it. And they just pushed it off like it was nothing. Literally, animation, this is the first, like, the Frozens you see, the Wreck-It Ralph, this is where it started, right here in this Disney animation studio. And it cost so much money. The music's great in it. The characters are great. It's got one of the best villains, and it literally did not see an Oscar nomination. So, for it not to, that's insane to me. It is personally in my top 6 of all time of Disney. I rewatch it a lot. So, Tangled should have been nominated. I don't know exactly what was nominated that year, but I really don't care. So, somebody will correct me at one point, and it's okay. Because it should have took one of those spots. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Tangled is the movie that it was one of the Disney movies I've not seen yet. I'm going to play it in Kingdom Hearts, but I haven't got around to seeing it. So I can't say anything about this. Caleb, you're the floor is yours.
This is a big hell yes, one of the most absurd snubs. When you look at Best Animated Feature that year, they only nominated 3 of potentially 5 films. They did Toy Story 3, How to Train Your Dragon, and a foreign film called The Illusionist, without nominating Tangled, I'm a personally a strong believer that Megamind was good enough to get the fifth spot. Despicable Me, the first one came out that year, and a lot of people think that was good enough for a fifth spot. But Tangled is the big one where it took a classic fairy tale story and flipped it. Like, it gutted it, changed it, and made it way more interesting and broke the tropes that traditional Disney films did, and did it so entertainingly. And the fact that it was only nominated for Best Original Song for I See the Light is a travesty, and it should have, even if it lost to Toy Story 3, should have been nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Yeah. And that was the year Toy Story 3 was in Best Picture, wasn't it?
Yep. It was also nominated for Best Picture. It's the third animated film in history to do that. And Up and Beauty and the Beast.
But yeah, anyway, Caleb, it's back to you to do your next snub.
I'm gonna take it in a weird direction for a hot second. I'm gonna go into I'd never bring up technical categories necessarily as like big snubs. I think there are big snubs that fly under the radar and those all the time. One of them came up last year. And like a lot of people, if you want to bring up the test of time argument, I can trump it because it's a skill. Film editing is a skill, and it comes down to that you can see the work that's put into it and the craft that's put into it. And when the craft undermines the plot of the movie and wins best film editing, it's absurd to me. When Dunkirk walked away with best film editing, when the editing of the movie reveals everything about the film, it's absurd. When Baby Driver was in the same category, Baby Driver is meticulously choreographed. It is painstakingly edited. It is the best edited film I think I've ever seen, maybe ever. It is so well done, and the fact that it lost to Dunkirk is absurd to me. So yeah, Baby Driver for best film editing over Dunkirk.
Yeah, I mean, I've also got a technical award from that year, but yeah, I'm going to say yes to this because I was surprised that Baby Driver did not get best editing, and that Dunkirk did. I mean, it's just one of those crazy things that I thought that happened last year. But yeah, Cody, what do you say about this?
Oh, I'm not laughing at the choice. I'm laughing that we're about to send this community into freaking tilt mode.
Mm-hmm.
The Paulo Yamas, the Lucas Schilbachs, everybody that ranks Dunkirk so high are going to blow gaskets. But I'll let you in on a little secret here. Dunkirk's a pile of shit, and I don't like it. The movie does not have any emotion. I didn't care about any of the characters because guess what? You don't know any of them. All they're there is to be shot down. Tom Hardy flies in a plane for 45 minutes and does nothing. I was so bored throughout this entire movie. Yes, this comes into my argument that I brought up in Late Night. I'm tired of movies that people rave so high that are beautiful paintings on walls. Paint it and put it on a wall. Don't make me sit there for 2 hours. Baby Driver is brilliant, beautiful, done. That movie was one of the movies that when I walked out when it came out, I worked at the theater. I was off that day. I went in there and watched the movie. I came out. I bought a ticket for the next show, and I sat right back down and watched it again. And for it not to even be Edgar Wright literally edited the movie with the music. Like, it's built perfectly. You can blame the performances if you don't like the performances in the movie, but the problem is the editing is literally what he built first, and then everything else came along with it. Brilliant, should have won, big snub, and I can't wait to hear the comments, the people, and we probably might get death threats. But you know what? It was well worth it, and I enjoy that we're all on this ride together.
Yeah, notice everyone don't send us death threats, but if you do, send them to Donald Trump at whitehouse.gov.
You can send it to me. I'm cool with it.
Send it to cody.newberry@yahoo.com. Thank you.
but I'm going to bring up the other technical that I alluded to, but this is in a year of superhero movies. The fact that Wonder Woman did not get Best Costume Design last year, a nomination, surprised me because this is one that I thought would have done. Because, I mean, the nominations were Phantom Thread, Beauty and the Beast, Darkest Hour, Shape of Water, and Victoria and Abdul. I mean, well, yes, like the costumes in those are good. I do think Wonder Woman could easily slipped in there over Darkest Hour, but that's just me. But because I mean the costumes in Wonder Woman were beautiful. Like all the Amazonian warrior things, like it's can't be easy to do a costume and get it to look like the way it looked in the comic books. So, and that is a skill in its own. But anyway, Caleb, Wonder Woman for costume is on the table. What do you say?
I love Wonder Woman, and I think the costume category is the correct choice. And I think you could easily take Darkest Hour and put Wonder Woman in, but I don't think it ranks in top 12 snubs of all time. It's a big snub. I think Wonder Woman should have been nominated for something, but the fact that it wasn't doesn't piss me off as much as some of the other ones on my list. So I'm gonna give it a no and leave it on the whims of Cody Newberry.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the reason I went for costume, I did look at all the other ones. Like, I really couldn't put in the other ones. But Cody, what do you say about Wonder Woman for costume?
I don't say that it shouldn't be on it, but if this was top 20, I'd maybe give you one. But I have like 6 that need to be on, and I have 3 spots. So I think the last 3 are going to be pretty cutthroat between us, except if one of us say yes. So it's rough with a 3-person panel, but I think there's at least 3 better. So I'm holding out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, it's always this point of the show where it starts getting more cutthroat. But Cody, what is the next name you're going to bring up?
Oh, son of a bitch. Okay. I'm going to go. Yeah, I had to go there. Wait. So this one's a win. That should have happened. Francis Ford Coppola did not win Best Director for The Godfather. Cabaret won for director. That is stupid. That shouldn't have happened. Somebody made a mistake. I think that's just 20 years later they were making up for Gene Kelly not being nominated, so they gave it to a musical there, and it shouldn't have happened. So Francis Ford Coppola, yeah, The Godfather. I think you should have got the director win. That's personal.
This was another one that I just completely must have glossed didn't realize, but yeah, for some reason I always thought got Francis won, but now that I know they didn't, I'm going to say yes to Francis because yeah, I love Cabaret, I love The Godfather. The direction in Godfather was better than the direction in Cabaret. I do not know how that happened. So Caleb, what would you have said?
Again, because it's cutthroat, and also history kind of righted itself because they gave it to him 2 years later for Godfather Part 2. So he won. He still won it for Godfather, just arguably the better Godfather film. And so I would have said no because history kind of corrected itself and we have 3 spots left. But I'm not upset that I made it. You're not wrong. I agree with you. He should have won both. I'm not saying Fosse should have won. I'm just saying with 3 spots left, history sort of corrected itself.
These two are going to be real rough to get on. So.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway, Caleb, what is this next snub you're going to bring up?
Whew. Yeah. I think I have exhausted most of my best picture picks. Most of my this should have won over that. Options because it's so late now. Yeah, I mean, I could bring up how Fargo should have won Best Picture over The English Patient, but I don't know if I will. I'm gonna take a risk, and I'm going to go for the Best Original Song category. Rarely do I think Best Original Song gets messed up so badly as the year 2016. 2016 had 4 of 5 correct picks. They had La La Land twice. They had City of Stars and Audition, The Fool's a Dream. Those are the 2 that we're going to get in there. How Far I'll Go from Moana, and Can't Stop the Feeling from Trolls. But there was a 5th song in there that shouldn't have been, and that was The Empty Chair from Jim, the James Foley Story, a documentary. There's a very, very big one that didn't get in, and its name is Drive It Like You Stole It from Sing Street. That song is fantastic. It's a great song that transcends the movie. Sing Street is a great film, and in the context of the film, the song works perfectly, all about, escaping the situation that you're in and trying to make a better life for yourself through a fun 80s rock song. And in that list, there is that very big hole of Drive It Like You Stole It being replaced by The Empty Chair, which is the So Sting song. So yeah, Drive It Like You Stole It. Take a shot in the dark. Let's hope it works.
Yeah, I'm gonna play the. It's very recent, and it probably won't stand the test of time argument.
It has.
Well, 2 years, but I mean,
we're still talking about it 2 years later, and we're all still listening to it 2 years later.
Shut your mouth. Malcolm, shoot it down.
I've listened to it once. I do not like the song.
Fudge. I thought you liked it.
It's a no for me. Cody.
Rip. Well, it's the death knell. Cody hates Sing Street.
Darn, Sing Street's terrible. Move along.
You're terrible. You're terrible.
You have a terrible taste in musicals. You like Sing Street and La La Land. Get out of my face.
Sing Street and La La Land are great films. Get out of here. God.
Correction. La La Land is a great film. Sing
Street's a great film. Yes, it is. Sing Street is a great film.
But anyway, this is not a debate between La La Land and Sing Street. But anyway, I'm going to bring up another director which I didn't realize had never won an Oscar. Like, he's only won one, but it's one of those random honorary Oscars that they give over for his body of work. But he's not actually won a specific Best Director Oscar, and that's Alfred Hitchcock. He's been nominated about 4 times. There's a few other movies he hasn't been nominated for, but I'm not going to pick a specific one. I'm just going to say Alfred Hitchcock in general, because I do think he should have got Best Director for Psycho, but he was nominated for that, but he didn't win. But yeah, Alfred Hitchcock is on the table. Cody, what do you say about the Hitchcock?
Oh, I'm going to get kicked out of Confidential Cinema. I'm not a fan of Hitchcock's movies. I'm sorry. I just don't find them entertaining. I like what he did. I know there's technique and skill, and they're still being used today. But other than that, I can't, because I don't like them. I've watched 5 of them, and I think I'm going to stop at 5. Just first. No, thank you.
Caleb, what do you say about Alfred Hitchcock?
I think it's crazy that he never won just because of the name.
Confidential Cinema.
And Psycho is a very well-made movie. I'm saying no because I also don't find Alfred Hitchcock very enjoyable. However, I agree. It's crazy he never won, especially with Psycho. But I just don't find Hitchcock very fun.
Cody and Caleb's opinions on Alfred Hitchcock do not reflect my opinions. So Henry, don't shoot them. Anyway, it's back to Cody. Cody, what is the next snub you're going to bring up?
We're all finna catch a bullet in the neck in Chicago now, Cody. Henry's coming for us.
So there's 2 that I'm battling with. And I don't think I'm going to get another shot. So I'm going to take it because of him being my favorite director. Scorsese wasn't nominated for Best Director for Taxi Driver, and I think that's insane. Scorsese, yes, Rocky won, and you could battle back and forth whether... I'm not saying that he should have won. I wouldn't have hated if he did. I think Taxi Driver is actually a better movie than the original Rocky. Matt Kearns, don't shoot me. But yeah, for Scorsese not to win, and his first win to happen in The Departed, which I absolutely love, but Taxi Driver is an amazing film, and he'd never won till that moment. So, and for him to just be snubbed on that is insanity. So I'm going to bring up Scorsese. I don't know how everybody sits on Taxi Driver, but we'll find out real quick.
But I'm gonna go to Caleb first.
My thing with Scorsese is that like he's made better films after Taxi Driver, like Raging Bull. And I think like him not being nominated for those or winning for those is a bigger snub than Taxi Driver. Just because 1976 is a brutal year to try and bring up a snub. Because you also have, if you argue Scorsese for Taxi Driver, you could also argue All the President's Men, Network. Literally, there are all sorts of films in 1976 that you could argue to over the top of each other. There's not a huge reason to me why Scorsese is the one to pick outside of career. And I think Raging Bull's better, personally. And I think he's made some better movies since then. So I don't find this to be I do find it to be a snub, but it's really hard for me to replace anything that's already there with Scorsese. So yeah, it's a no.
I'm saying yes to Scorsese for Taxi Driver because I do feel that he should have been nominated for it because it's just a good move. It's a good movie and the direction is really great. I do not know who I'd knock out for it. It is really hard, but I do think if it was in over one of those, I don't think anyone would really complain on who was knocked out because I mean it's one of those ones like that people could easily see it as a very close race, just really hard to. Yeah, but yeah. And with that, Scorsese makes the list, and I believe we've just got one left.
One left. Okay.
And back to Caleb.
We're going to keep it on brand for this last one because I doubt I'll make it. I doubt I'll get to bring anything else up. But this is one I will plant my flag in the ground and die on this hill. I have to bring up a score. And when it comes to scores, you know I'm a huge score guy. There are iconic ones throughout the years that have never won, that have been nominated and not won. But none have really been as big of a snub to me. When you look at the years that it came out with, there's not a lot of scores that top it. Pirates of the Caribbean has an iconic score, especially Dead Man's Chest. Dead Man's Chest has Davy Jones' theme, and it's booming. It's huge. It's this broad theme that just you feel it in your heart and soul and gets you so hyped for anything that happens. It moves the movie. It's flowing. It's epic. It captures the entire scope and feel of that series. And Dead Man's Chest does it best because that's when Hans Zimmer really took it. Like he wrote the theme for the first movie, but he wrote all the music in Dead Man's Chest. And it's fantastic. It's an iconic score. And I think it's a travesty that Hans Zimmer didn't pick up an award for Dead Man's Chest, especially when he had literally no competition that beat him out for
it. Cody, what do you say about Dead Man's Chest score?
Dun, 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 dun. No. Okay. I love Dead Man's Chest. Absolutely. But I can't give him the edge on that one. I'm not the biggest score, but I think like did Pirates 1 win?
Pirates has never won for score.
Yeah, you picked up the wrong Pirates. Pirates 1 is insane. That score is
no, all amazing. The things you're thinking are in Dead Man's Chest. I made that mistake too.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
The iconic Pirates theme is literally in number 1.
Parts of it. A lot of the additional parts that make that score great were introduced in Dead Man's Chest. A lot of the pieces that you're thinking of were introduced in Dead Man's Chest. Hans Zimmer wrote the basic theme in Curse the Black Pearl, but a lot of the things you're thinking about Pirates weren't introduced until Dead Man's Chest.
Now that you say that, no. Still no. So, no.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just had to look up the nomination for score in that year. Score, it wasn't Dead Man's Chest wasn't even nominated that year. Either. It was Babel, Gustavo, which actually won, The Good German, Notes on a Scandal, Pan's Labyrinth, and The Queen.
Pan's Labyrinth is the only good one in there.
I do think Babel's score is pretty good too, but I'm gonna say no because I do think that there's a bigger snub than the Dead Man's Chest score. I mean, if you had brought up the first one, I would have said yes. But
the thing is, you're all misremembering. You're all misremembering. That's my thing. Is if I nominate Curse of the Black Pearl, you're getting half of the original theme, and then a lot of score that's forgettable. All the pieces that you remember weren't around till Dead Man's Chest, and that's why I brought up Dead Man's Chest. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the main. I'm actually not talking about the main score either. I'm talking about. I literally think the whole score of Curse Black Pearl is better than Dead Man's Chest, and that's just me. Anyway, it's back to me to bring up a snub. I'm gonna take a risk because I find it hard that Leo DiCaprio was not nominated for Titanic. And I do think he should have got up there for it because like you say what you want about the movie. I know there's people out there that don't like Titanic and think it's boring, but I think that Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in it was good. I mean, I don't think he should have won that year, but I do think he should have been nominated. But yeah, Caleb, what do you say about Leo in Titanic?
No, it's Kate Winslet's movie, really, and he's done better. So no.
Cody, what do you say about Leo in Titanic?
Rose, you're so stupid, Rose. No, gosh, no. He's a whiny kid throughout this movie. I think it's good, but there's bigger characters in that movie. And I would have given it to the ship because where you think it's going, it rises, falls, sinks. Oh, beautiful. But no. Plus, Kate Winslet's a bitch in that movie. They could have both fit on the door. That's not real love.
I mean, the one thing you can't say about the movie is the movie did not sink at the box office.
Oh, there we go.
But anyway, Cody, what? It's back to you. What is the next?
I did get to bring up both of them. I'm so excited. This one's kind of surprising to me, actually, and kind of sad to a way. So let me find it. I gotta scroll. So in 1980, there was a movie that came out called The Shining, and Jack Nicholson didn't get nominated for an acting Oscar. This dude does everything in that movie. Goes from normal to angry to a literal psychopath. This movie has stood like with one of the most iconic scenes ever when he busts through that door and like, here's Johnny. Like, so freaky, so interesting. I'm not a huge fan of the overall movie as much, but his performance is insane. And for him not to even be considered is weird. Now, De Niro did win for Raging Bull, which I think that's the correct choice. But for him not to be put up in the top 5, stupid.
Caleb, what do you say about Jack Nicholson in The Shining?
It's when you say it's a groundbreaking Jack Nicholson performance, it's really not. He's kind of played all of the things he does in The Shining, just in other movies. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Chinatown. He's kind of done all of it already before The Shining. So I'm gonna say no.
Never seen
because
Chinatown.
Nicholson has won his Oscars before this and after this, and has given better performances than this. And The Shining's good in terms of his performance. I don't like The Shining.
Coming
I think
from
he's
the guy that
okay.
wanted Sing
So-
Street to be on the list. Get
Yeah,
out of my
Sing
face.
Street's a great coming of age story, and I think that song should have been nominated. Yep, he's a garbage. All right, but no, no to Jack Nicholson. Not for The Shining.
Okay. I do like The Shining. I do think it's a good movie. Caleb, who else was nominated in that year?
I will look real quick. I actually have it right here. The same year, there was Peter O'Toole for The Stuntman, Jack Lemmon in his final nomination for Tribute, John Hurt for The Elephant Man, Robert Duvall for The Great Santini, and the winner, Robert De Niro for Raging Bull.
Okay, based on who else was nominated, I'm gonna say yes, because I do think he should have got in over a couple of them. I don't see him winning though, but I do think he should have got in. So Jack
I
Nicholson.
love
closes-
three-person panels.
The top 12 of all time, Malcolm? Wow.
Oh, Sing Street? Shut your mouth.
That song is a big snub. Probably the biggest original song snub in the history of the Oscars.
Well, as people in 10
I
years
got
say,
7 of the 12. I love three-people panels. Hey!
If we had gotten back to me, my literal next pick was to throw out Curse of the Black Pearl for score, just to be like, just to be like, hey guys, since we didn't get Dead Man, Curse of the Black Pearl, let's get it on. But yeah,
I'm surprised he didn't try bringing up a Cars for anything.
oh no, wait till we get to honorable mentions. You'll hear it. You'll hear it.
Anyway, Cody.
I'm on brand.
Anyway, Cody, do you have any honorable mentions?
I'll let him go first real quick because I got to pull up my list so he can go.
Caleb, go for honorable mentions.
I will run down my list. James Franco was not nominated for Best Actor for The Disaster Artist. I think that was a snub. I think Curse of the Black Pearl not being nominated for Best Original Score, that was a snub. The Phantom Menace not being nominated for Best Original Score. Say what you want about the movie. The Duel of the Fates piece alone is better than anything that was nominated that year in score. Same with Danny Elfman for Batman. I think The Hateful Eight could have been nominated for Best Picture. Walton Goggins could have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that movie. Big Sick should have won Original Screenplay. La La Land should have won Best Picture. Curse of the Black Pearl should have been nominated for Best Picture. Cecil B. DeMille was not nominated for Best Director for The Ten Commandments, and I think that is a travesty. George Lucas should have won Best Director over Woody Allen, and Star Wars should have won Best Picture over Annie Hall. I will die on that hill. And to wrap up, on brand, Cars should have won Best Animated Feature over Happy Feet. Thank you.
But Caleb, La La Land did win Best Picture. It won for about
5 seconds, and I went to bed happy. And then I woke up the next morning, and it was like Moonlight won Best Picture. Imagine that nightmare when I woke up. Wow.
Cody, what honorable mentions did you have?
Okay, so this is a little lengthy. Bear with me for real quick. Saving Private Ryan not winning Best Picture over Shakespeare in Love. Goodfellas not winning Best Picture over Dances with Wolves. Shawshank Redemption not winning over Forrest Gump. Citizen Kane, blah, blah, I don't care. That's just for everybody's thing. 2001: A Space Odyssey was not nominated for Best Picture. That's a little shocking for me. Hold on. Al Pacino not for Serpico. That's where he should have been nominated. He didn't win for that, but he should have been. Ralph Fiennes for supporting actor in Schindler's List was snubbed over Tommy Lee Jones and Fugitive. You can go back and forth with that. I'm okay with that. Brokeback Mountain not winning for 2005. Crash won. That's a travesty. And,
The worst Best Picture winner of all time.
My last two that I will say, Blade Runner not being nominated for Best Picture the year it came out, and Leonardo DiCaprio for not winning for Wolf of Wall Street. Done deal. Wolf of
Which
Wall Street
caused a snub in 2015 when he won The Revenant and over
That's true.
Matt Damon, Martian.
He did eat a bison liver though, so give him that.
I mean,
the Bear should have won. The Bear should have won over him. Come on, it's the same thing with the Titanic. The Titanic should have won over him.
Agreed.
I mean, anything losing to Crash is really a snub. So yeah,
Justice for the boat. That's what my new hashtag's going to be.
Justice for the boat.
Justice for the boat.
Anyway, for me, the honorable mentions I've got a couple recent ones on here. Justin Hurwitz not being nominated for a score, despite winning a few other places, is surprising to me. I had Jim Carrey for The Truman Show on mine. I'd also had Leo for Catch Me If You Can. I think he should have been nominated for that one.
I agree.
I had Peter Jackson not being nominated for Two Towers. That was surprising when that happened. Once again, I don't know if he should have won, but I do think he should at least be nominated for all three of them. But Heavenly Creatures, which is another Peter Jackson movie, not being nominated for this picture. Jamie Foxx not being nominated for Django Unchained. Mila Kunis not being up for Black Swan, and I've also got Emily Blunt for not being nominated for A Quiet Place.
Are you allowed to say that with Peter Jackson stuff? Because aren't you a little biased about yourself? I'm just saying.
Well, it's why I didn't bring them. It's why I didn't bring them up.
Okay. Fair enough.
I put them as honorable mentions for a reason. But anyway, we get to do the fun part, which is the nominating. We write down what we want for.
How do we settle ties today?
Well, there's three of us.
Oh, you got the randomizer. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I've got the random thing. It either works well or doesn't work in anyone's favor. But Cody, what do you have for 12?
So I'm not erasing my total board so I can keep them so I don't have to ask you and annoy you, but I'm doing Jim Carrey.
Caleb, what do you have for 12?
Scorsese.
Well, I've got to bring out more random things straight off the bat beside Dark Knight.
Hoover.
Oh my lord.
Oh my lamp. What did you put?
I put the
What?
Dark. Who was that question to?
What did Caleb put?
Scorsese.
Oh, you disgusting slut.
You did Jim Carrey, so you disgusting slut.
That's fair. That's fair.
So Scorsese.
I'm gonna be so freaking mad if mine isn't the one, because both of them are like my top two. Showing my hand there, but
I mean, for me, even though the reason I put it on is there, it's for me, it's one of those ones which I do think the other ones are bigger than. And Scorsese is full at 12.
woohoo!
I hate you. Okay, I'm changing mine. Whatever.
Ugh.
Okay.
Sorry, you're going somewhere else.
No, I think I'll keep it. Cody, what do you have for 11?
Judy Garland. Wizard of Oz.
Caleb, what do you have?
Judy Garland, Wizard of Oz.
And I've still got The Dark Knight.
So what's 11?
Judy Garland.
Sweet.
Okay. Gotta get my board back.
Ready.
All right. Cody, what do you have for 10?
Dark Knight.
Caleb, what do you have for 10?
You disgusting slut. Jack Nicholson.
And I did not change my board. It's still Dark Knight. So.
Yeah! Give him a Mendenzel.
I made the top 10. It needs to be there.
I'm ready.
Okay. Why did I erase my board?
I don't know. Why did you erase your board?
I don't know.
Anyway, to recap who we've still got left, we've got Gene Kelly, Jake Gyllenhaal, Denzel, Steven Spielberg, Jim Carrey, Tangled, Baby Driver, Francis Ford Coppola, and Jack Nicholson. Cody, who do you have for 9?
Jim Carrey.
Caleb, who do you have?
Jack Nicholson.
And I've got Tangled.
Oh my god.
Well, that's rude.
That is rude. Me and Cody agree. That's like, wow. All right. 2010 is probably one of the biggest, like, weirdest ceremonies ever.
Was that the first year that they didn't have used all 5, or did they include all the 5 later?
You mean this is the first year where they have 10?
Well, the animated section.
Oh, this was like they've been doing only 3 for a while. Like the year before though, I think they had 5, and then they went to 3, and then next year was 5, and the year after that was 2. Like 2011 only had 2, and it was Rio or the Muppets.
Muppets wasn't animated?
Or maybe not Muppets. It was like Rio and something else.
And anyway, Jack Nicholson is randomized to 9.
Yeah, baby. The randomizer's on my side tonight.
You paid it off. What did Nico show you how to pay off a wheel?
Yep. All right.
Anyway, I've still got Tangled. Caleb, who do you have? What?
Francis Ford Coppola.
All right, everybody, get the randomizer. It's still Jim Carrey.
Tangled carrying this time, Francis Ford. And round, round, round the wheel goes. We'll stop. It'll be Tangled.
Tangled's off. Oh, that's upsetting.
Because your payment stopped going through.
Oh, that's upsetting. Nico, I want my money back.
I think this is a good place. Cody, who do you want for 7?
I wanted this for like 12, but I'll settle for Jim Carrey being there.
Caleb, who do you have at 7?
Francis Ford Coppola.
I also have. We're not going to the wheel because I also put Jim Carrey.
Oh my god, guys.
Oh my gosh, guys, what are you doing?
Fine.
Yeah, this is a good stop.
But
the funny thing is, everything else, there's only 2 that are not me left.
And to recap who we've got Gene Kelly, Jake Gyllenhaal, Denzel, Spielberg, Francis Ford, and Baby Driver for editing. I really need to get some new whiteboard markers. Cody, who do you have?
Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler.
Caleb, who do you have?
You're just being a dick now, taking my stuff off. Francis Ford Coppola.
No, the rest totally makes sense. I didn't take Baby Driver yet. I'm coming for that.
Coppola.
But yeah, me and Cody have started being in sync because I put Jakey G.
Jakey G. Hey, he got up to the top, what? 6?
6.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to keep one around because I want more death threats.
Good. Let's make that number 1 for the lulz, shall we?
But I'm sorry, but I really can't put it over some of the other ones. I've got Baby Driver for 5.
Oh
Caleb, who do you have?
Francis Ford Coppola.
Cody, who do you have?
Francis Ford Coppola. Because at the end of the day, he did win it for the second one, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
That. Whew. Whew. The final 4 are terrifying. So, yeah, sorry. This ride's over.
Yeah, but Gene Kelly, Denzel, Spielberg, and Baby Driver.
Give me my Denzel.
I'm surprised Jake Maragoni hasn't patented that saying. Anyway, Cody, who do you want for 4?
Baby Driver. Sorry, the road stops here.
Caleb, who do you have for 4?
Steven Spielberg.
But yeah, I had Baby Driver.
He wasn't even nominated. Baby Driver's at least got a nomination. I don't know who to pick. This is literally Sophie's choice at this point. Nomination, not nominated. Well, I gotta do. I gotta go that way. I don't totally agree with it. No, I can't do that. Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna go here. Just no, that's not. Hold on.
Cody is in a existential state of crisis.
No.
He deserves it.
But anyway, I'm going to go first.
I'm trading you in debate now.
Do it. I'll win for Henry. I'll do it.
But I've got Steven Spielberg for 3. Caleb, who do you have for number 3?
Because I wanted to piss off Cody, I swapped it to Gene Kelly for Singing in the Rain.
Cody, who
this is the perfect option that we get to go to the wheel because the 2 were not even nominated. Denzel was at least nominated. I gave it to Denzel.
Ooh, wow.
But now I get to let the random wheel decide, which makes me happy because I did not know who to pick.
Give him a man, Denzel.
Gene Kelly. And it is spinning. And Steven Spielberg is going to be number 3. And now instead of
Who
voting
is?
Spielberg.
Spielberg,
Okay.
so Denzel and Gene Kelly are left. Yeah, and voting on number one. Cody, who do you want for number one?
I'm going Denzel Washington. I switched it up. Give him a man Denzel.
Caleb, who do you want for number one?
Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Denzel Washington.
I went the other way. Because I thought Cody was going to go that way, I put Gene Kelly, and because
Give him a man Denzel.
so Gene Kelly is second, and Denzel is going to be number one. But yeah, that brings our list to a close. And our list is at number 12 got Martin Scorsese not being nominated for Taxi Driver. At 11 we've got Judy Garland for Wizard of Oz. At 10 we've got The Dark Knight for Best Picture. At 9 we've got Jack Nicholson for The Shining. At 8 we've got Tangled for Best Animated. At 7 we've got Jim Carrey for Man of the Moon. At 6 we've got Jackie G from Nightcrawler. At 5 we've got Francis Ford Coppola for The Godfather. At 4 we've got Baby Driver for not winning for editing. At 3 we've got Steven Spielberg not even being nominated for Jaws. At 2 we've got Gene Kelly not being nominated for Singing in the Rain. And at number 1 is Denzel Washington not winning for Malcolm X. That is a pretty good list we've got here. I will have at the time this goes up, I would have already put the poll up because we're not actually going to be live on Monday. I thought I'll put the poll up a little bit earlier just for see how much more votes we get by the time. But yeah, Cody, where can people find you online?
Find me on Take 3 Productions. I help with 3 shows. Watch along every Wednesday. It's coming back this coming up week. We're doing Guardians of the Galaxy. You can find me on Thursday at Late Night with Take 3, also known as Brooklyn's Wrong for so many hours. You can find me on Rank 'em here as the grumpy old man in the corner. Unless it's a 3-man panel, I was a quite happy camper today. I got a lot of my options in. You can find me over at Multiplex Entertainment, where I'm now an admin over there for whatever he calls it on the Facebook page. But I'm there. I host. I do things. Nerdgasm is kicking off. We have a tournament. 2 matches will be dropping on Saturday. So this past Saturday. So go back and watch them. It's Robert versus Caleb and Dominic versus Malcolm. It's going to be 2 great matches to start off the tournament, and we're going to crown a champion hopefully by the end of March. And then regular season will open up. So if you want a shot, please put your name down in the videos. We will get you a match.
And Caleb, where can people find you online?
You can find me over on Multiplex Entertainment. I host Fandom Fight on Fridays and the Cahoskers on Thursdays with a new host. We will be doing our first show in a week where we break down a week from when we're shooting this. The first episode will be out where we break down the nominations and announcing the Cahosker nominations. So you can check those out next week. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
And you can find me on Take 3 Productions, where I host Rank 'em every Sunday night. Look out for the poll that will be up, or has been up. I pre-recording. I'm messing it up already, but but you can also find me on Full Metal and Multiplex competing in trivia matches, and you can also find me on Letterboxd, Stardust, and Twitter at Melkor. And until next week, see you when we rank 'em.